Today we will have a main course together for the level of Richmond. We will talk about simple past and present perfect first, and then we will talk about present perfect continuous. Let's start. So, when do we use each tense? We are comparing simple past with present perfect. You know this already, but we use different tenses in different situations. Let's look at simple past first. We use simple past for the actions that happened in the past and finished, over, done. But when it comes to present perfect tense, we use it for the actions that started in the past but is still true today. In what sense, we will talk about it more in a second. So, present perfect tense connects past with present. For example, it is used to show that an action or situation in the past continues today or might happen again. Let's compare the meaning of these two sentences. The first sentence is, Sarah lived in Boston for 5 years. And the second sentence is, Sarah has lived in Boston for 5 years. So what do you think? What might be the difference between the two sentences? So in the first sentence we use simple past, and in the second sentence we use present perfect. Let's see the difference. So if you say Sarah lived in Boston for 5 years, it means that Sarah started living in Boston 5 years ago and then she moved to somewhere else. Now she lives in a different city. But if you say Sarah has lived in Boston for 5 years, it means that Sarah began living in Boston 5 years ago and she still lives there today. There are some signal words that we can use to recognize whether it is past tense or perfect tense. For example, for simple past, you can see yesterday, last is a keyword, whether it is followed by Saturday, week, month, year, ago, when I was, and in 1990, or any other past date. With present perfect tense, we use recently, lately, since, so far this week, month, year. If you see these signal words, you immediately should realize that you should use present perfect tense in that context. Also, we often use present perfect with ever and never. For example, have you ever played tennis? It means like as an experience in your life. And Linda answers, no, I have never played before, but I would like to learn. So you see, if there is an experience context, you can use present perfect tense to express your life experience. Let's look at the grammar structure. For the positive sentences, we use I have worked. So we have and has, and also past participle means verb 3. With he, she, it, have becomes has, he has worked, you have worked. For the negative sentence, we have I haven't worked, he hasn't worked, you haven't worked. For the question, have I worked, has he worked or she worked, have you worked? So what you need to always remember is, for the present perfect, you should always use have, has, plus past participle, which is verb 3. Now let's practice. try to do it by yourself first. I will give you some minutes and then we will explain the answers. So for this practice, we need to decide whether the sentence should be in the past or in the present perfect. Now, let's see the answers. When I was a child, I swam a lot. So, if I say when I was a child, it means this is in the past. This is over because I'm not a child anymore. And the second is, so far this week, we have studied a lot. So when you see so far this week, it means the action started in the past, but is still true today. For the third question, Theo has been very sick recently. So if you see the keyword recently, again, it means that he started being sick and he is still sick, so it should be has been, perfect tense. And the next question, I had a terrible headache yesterday. Of course, when you see yesterday, you immediately understand the action is in the past, not correct today, so we use past tense. And the last question, it has rained a lot lately. Lately is like recently. It makes us realize the action started in the past but still true today. So we saw past simple, we saw past present perfect, and we saw the difference between them. Now let's talk about present perfect continuous. We use present perfect continuous to talk about actions that started in the past and are still in progress. Our keyword here is progress. For example, he has been learning English for 5 years, meaning he is still learning English. So the progress is still going on. So we have our past, we have our present, and we have our future. You see, present perfect starts in the past and it still goes on today in the present. So again, if you see recently, lately, since, for, all day, all morning, it can be a sign of that you should use present continuous, perfect continuous tense. He has been driving lately. I have been drawing since 5 o'clock. What have you been doing recently? Let's compare present perfect continuous and present perfect simple. They have been reading a book about witches. Means we are interested in the activity. The action has not finished. This is present perfect continuous. The action has not finished, but also we are interested in the activity. They have read a book about witches. This is perfect tense. And we pay attention to the result of the activity. Means the action has finished. Let's look at the grammar structure. For the positive sentence, I have been waiting for you for 3 hours. She has been dreaming all night long. We have been writing a letter. So, We have and has, and we have been, we have our verb, and we have our ing. Let's look at the negative sentences. I haven't been waiting for you for 3 hours. She hasn't been dreaming all night long. We haven't been writing a letter. Now let's look at the questions. Have I been waiting for you for 3 hours? Has she been dreaming all night long? Have we been writing a letter? So we have our subject, we have and has, and we have been, we have our verb, and we have our ing. This is how you make a sentence in present perfect continuous. Let's do a little exercise together. I want you to focus on the questions and write your own answers, then I will give you answers later. Okay, this was actually a really easy practice, so now let's see the answers. She has been working here for 5 years. I have been studying all day. You have been eating a lot recently. We have been living in London for 6 months. He has been playing football, so he's tired. So now let's look at the keywords for it. For the first question, you have 5 years, means she is still working. For the second question, we have all day, means I have been studying all day, I am still studying. For the third question, you have been eating a lot recently, so it includes today. We have been living in London for 6 months, so we are still living in London. And he has been playing football, so he's tired. So he's tired now, so he has been playing. That's why he is tired. Thank you so much for listening. That was it for today. See you guys next week.